Hey there, duelists, and welcome back to the Crystal Domain. Today, in the words of Simo, who famously talked about traversing the sands of Yu-Gi-Oh's past, a very popular topic by our community, often done for time capsule formats like GOAT or Edison or whichever one, hat format, etc., but not quite done yet, except by me a little bit with my battle boxes, for Domain. So today we are going to traverse the sands of Yu-Gi-Oh's history and talk about weird, jank, silly cards from throughout Yu-Gi-Oh's history, starting in chronological order with Capsule Monster Coliseum from April 13th, 2000. Ironically, we had Yu-Gi-Oh cards before Legends of Blue Eyes White Dragon, starting with Capsule Monster Coliseum. And there was only like 3 promos, often the number of promos you get with your Yu-Gi-Oh game. But in this case, we're only talking about 1. We're talking about Teva, a light level 5 warrior monster. When this card is tribute summoned successfully, your opponent cannot declare an attack during his or her next turn. You pick the target, they cannot attack. A great option for preventing the best player at the table from closing out the game with combat, or to bully an opponent and you have already winning and preventing them from swinging over some of your monsters to keep your advantage up. Either way, pretty good card. Not exactly a build around, but worth considering if you are in the warrior light area of Domain. Next, we have Eternal Duelist Soul, which came out July 5th, 2001, another video game, with a collection of promos and one worth talking about. Exchange is a normal spell card where both players reveal their hands and add 1 card from each other's hand to their hand. This applies to all players. So, in this case, you're just shifting cards around between all your buddies, which could either rip meaningful cards from a deck that wants them, or gives them crap from your hand if you're just playing nonsense, like most of the things I do. There was another game that came out in between Legend of Blue Eyes and Eternal Duelist Soul, which was Duelist of the Roses, September 6, 2001, which featured no promos worth mentioning. Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon, our first actual booster pack, came out March 8th, 2002, kicking off the game officially. And it features very iconic cards and staples that are played to this day, especially in the context of Domain format. But we're not here to talk about staples, we're here to talk about crap. And so, there's like 2 cards to talk about. Because the rest are like vanilla monsters, or like anime cards like which are vanilla monsters. So we're going to talk about Dragon Capture Jar, sorry Draco. This is a continuous trap card that will change all face-up dragon type monsters on the field to defense position, and they cannot change their battle positions. Not everybody plays dragon decks, but Draco does, who's in our Discord server, and this is a great meta call against him. Do it. 2-prong attack is a normal trap card. Select and destroy 2 of your monsters and 1 of your opponent's monsters. Omega Judgment, a similar card that reads destroying 2 spells to destroy a target on the field, is a great effect when you think of decks like Crystal Beasts that want to lose some of those bricky monsters in the spell trap and use them for a meaningful effect. This could be a similar case where you could be playing a deck that wants to destroy monsters. Dinosaurs, for example, is something to consider. After Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon, we had another game with Dark Duel Stories, which came out March 18th, 2002, with only 1 promo worth talking about. Acid Trap Hole, a normal trap card that reads, destroy or target 1 face-down defense position monster on the field, and you flip it face up. You destroy it if its defense is 2,000 or less, or return it face down if its defense is more than 2,000. This does trigger the effect of the flip monster in this case. So if that is what you're going for, this could either trigger a flip effect by force, and the opponent, may have been trying to get rid of it before it flipped, and instead you're making it happen, or in a 2v2 of Domain where your opponent is also your ally. You could target your ally as an opponent with card effects. Then Acid Trap Hole can help your opponent flip monsters early as well to trigger abilities, which is pretty cool. Starter deck Yugioh came out March 29, 2002. Not exactly jank, but card destruction is worth mentioning here. It is a normal spell card that both players discard as many cards as possible from their hands, and then each player draws the same number of cards they discarded. This reminds me of a old Magic card, Wheel of Fortune, which reads similarly. All players must discard their hands and draw 7 new cards. Cards like this were good but not broken in the confines of a 1 versus 1, but gain a different kind of perspective when there are multiple players. In the case of Wheel of Fortune, it found a whole new value when Commander became a thing. And in Commander, there are usually 4 players or more at a pod, and certain decks love discarding people's stuff for effects. So things like this that affect now 3, 4, 5 players, whatever, gain a whole new meaning of value. And this can be applied in context with card destruction, with Domain having very similar rules about multiplayer pods. This affects everybody, and so this gets extra value beyond what was originally conceived. Similar in concept, not as broken as Wheel of Fortune is, but still worth mentioning the similarities. Started at Kaiba came out the same day, and featured only one card worth talking about, Mysterious Puppeteer, a Earth level 4 warrior monster that reads, each time you or your opponent normal summons or flip summons a monster, increase your life points by 500. This does affect everybody, of course, so it is neat to consider that this is a good tool in your life point gain synergies. Metal Raiders is our next core set, which came out June 26th, 2002. And only has a couple cards worth mentioning, but still, as we are getting into further core sets, we'll have more cards worth mentioning as they get more creative with card design beyond a massive pile of no ability fusions and vanilla monsters like Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon. In this case, we'll start with Muka Muka, a level 2 Earth Rock monster that gains 300 attack and defense for each card in your hand. Now, not like broken or anything, but if you are running the means of having no hand size limits and drawing a lot of cards, which we'll get to with some cards soon from a future core set, then this card is a commendable beatstick. Ring of Magnetism is a equip spell card that reads you can only equip this card to a monster on your side of the field. Its attack and defense are decreased by 500 points, but in addition, all the monsters on your opponent's side of the field can only attack the equipped monster with this card if they do attack. This is funny in the confines of like monsters that can't be destroyed. So like Spirit Reaper, Marshmallow, Yubel. This is really funny with Yubel. Yubel already has the means of forcing you to only attack Yubel, but it's like a backup plan, right? So like, just, it is worth mentioning that this can prevent the opponent from like doing meaningful attacks, and in some cases can get them killed. Share the Pain is a normal spell card that reads tribute one monster and make your opponent tribute one monster for no effect. This is sort of kaiju-esque, right? Because you tribute one of your own things, which is not a kaiju effect, but making them tribute something is, which is worth considering for meaningful removal of annoying to bypass protected monsters. Next, we have TP1. Before that set, though, Sacred Cards came out July 4th, 2002. It's a video game with a set of promos that we're not worth talking about. Tournament Pack 1 came out. It has great cards in it, and then it has stuff like this. You know, some of the cards of this era, really, really powerful. Dark Hole, Raigeki, Monster Reborn, game warping effects, right? And then they thought, well, the answer to solving, you know, how good they are is printing dedicated counter effect on trap cards. That's the answer. So, White Hole is a trap card that, it makes it where your monsters are not destroyed when they activate a Dark Hole. Not good, but like, you're gonna get brownie points if you actually pull this off in a game, especially when Dark Hole is like in every single domain deck ever. It's gonna be in it. Magic Ruler is our next core set from September 16th, 2002, more often known as Spell Ruler. It was name changed to because of law shenanigans, avoiding being sued by Wizards of the Coast for the more famous and inspirational Magic the Gathering game that Yu-Gi-Oh! Was kind of inspired by to begin with. Anyways, Magic Ruler is our next core set, and we're going to talk about a number of cards from this set. This set was focused on printing powerful spell cards. It succeeded. We're going to talk about, like, none of those. Gravekeeper's Servant is a continuous spell card that makes it where, in order for an opponent to declare an attack, they must mill the top card of their deck. If you're a mill deck, this is funny to consider. That way they have to at least mill to declare an attack at you. And you're already milling them anyway, so it's just an extra little push of mill that you're aiming for. In a similar vein of taxing the opponent, we have Toll, another continuous spell card, that makes the opponent pay 500 life points to declare an attack. If they are low enough, they literally get floodgated from attacking, which is kind of good, but like, this card sucks, but it is funny. Eternal Rest features like a Darth Maul monk guy on it. It's a normal spell card that destroys all monsters equipped with equip cards. This, I think, is funny when, like, there's equip cards that reanimate things, so that's funny. And then also there's, like, annoying equip cards that people use for, like, shenanigans, like Moon Mirror Shield or whatever it's called. And then, like, degenerate equip stuff, and also just equip decks in general. Just blow up all their stuff. It seems funny. Next, we got Karate Man. This is a level 3 Earth Warrior monster. You can double the original attack of this card once per turn, and if you do, you destroy it during the end phase. Now, if you, like, buff this guy a bunch, he will still only double his original attack, so by 1,000, right? But if you make it big, and then you could double his attack, this could, like, close a game. It's never going to happen, but, like, try it. I want to see it. Chain Energy is actually good, but we are still going to talk about it. Continuous spell card. Each player must pay 500 life points per card to normal summon or special summon, or to set or activate cards from their respective hand. So if you want to, like, set or activate, like, a spell or trap, you got to pay life points. If you want to normal or special summon a monster, you have to pay life points. This card's actually good, but because it is each player, Domain does make this card better than it should be. And so it's, like, actually good. It's not like jank, but it's a really good burn effect worth having in mind if you want to, like, tax and, like, make a game act, like, not the way it should. Ceremonial Bell is a light level 3... How is it a spellcaster? I just realized it said spellcaster. What? It's a... Okay, never mind. Both players must keep their hands revealed. Funny? Like, you can't hide anything, right? They, like, if you only played, like, one card on your turn, and then you just, like, drop this guy, and you're like, boom, everybody show me your hands. And then they reveal, like, whatever they got going on, then everybody knows what everybody's doing, which normally that's often revealed, like, by their deck master, which is visible from the start, but, like, whatever. Point being, this card, nobody's keeping secrets, okay? Everybody's showing their hand all the time. Nobody hiding anything. Lastly, for Magic Ruler, we have 2 Water Aqua monsters, starting with Penguin Knight, which is level 3 monster. When this card is sent directly from your deck to the graveyard by an effect of a card controlled by your opponent, you unite your graveyard and your own deck, you shuffle them, and you form a new deck. Really weird wording for just you shuffle your graveyard into your deck and, like, you know, put it back to the deck zone. Like, in a 2v2, this is funny, because, like we talked about, you are an opponent, technically, for effects to your ally, so they could, like, force you to do this to, like, reset your deck if you need to, which could be helpful, or if they're, like, playing a mill deck, you could just, like, tell them no. This sort of effect is kind of reminiscent to, like, there's a bunch of monsters and stuff in, like, Magic that do this thing, and it's really great for denying mill strategies, which are, like, better in Magic, but still, like, this is an anti-mill card, and that's worth mentioning. for like, you know, that very common mill threat you face in Yu-Gi-Oh. And then we have Weather Report. Look at this little guy. He's a level 4 Aqua Flip monster. On flip, he destroys all your opponent's face-up Swords Revealing Light. You know, all 300 of them that are going to be in play. And then if Swords Revealing Light is destroyed, you can perform your battle phase twice this turn, or on your next turn, if this happened to activate during your opponent's turn. This will never happen. But what if it did? Just saying, what if it did? This would be great. It's a great story. You would have a great story to tell people about Domain. This would get people into the game. I mean, they're gonna read this and they'll be like, "Oh, this card's never been activated," and then you're like, "Joke's on you! It activated in my Domain game," and then they wonder why this was even a thing. Next, we have Tournament Pack 2. This came out October 1st, 2002. And we're going to talk about 2 cards from it. We got Exile of the Wicked featuring the Bible, probably got censored in the TCG release. This destroys all Fiend monsters on the field. Now, kind of a meta call here, but like, let's acknowledge, Fiend is one of the best type domains in Domain. Fiendsmith is popular. People will be attracted to playing like the best strategies in the game, right? They come over from Advanced and they're like, all right, sick. Fiendsmith, Yubel, Fiend, Vomit Pile, let's go. And then you're like, boom, Exile the Wicked, all their crap's destroyed. It's insane. Just saying, it could happen. Call the Grave, on the other hand, will not happen. It is a one of those, like, you know, white hole. It's like that, but for Monster Reborn. It negates a Monster Reborn. Again, this will never happen, but you could make it happen, and you'll get brownie points for it. Aim for greatness with silly cards, not for winning the game. Ferris Servant's our next core set from October 20th, 2002. And this set was focused on getting better trap cards in the game, acknowledging that mostly, for the most part, like, all the good cards were spells. And that still remained true after this set. But, like, there's still some great cards from this set we're going to talk about. Again, like, maybe, like, one of them. Appropriate is our first of many continuous trap cards. It activates only when your opponent draws a card or cards outside of either draw phase. After that, each time your opponent draws a card or cards outside of either draw phase, you immediately draw 2 cards. Draw your whole deck. Like, this triggers off everybody. Like, just draw your whole deck. What's stopping you? Draw your deck, hold up your 50 cards, laugh maniacally, and lose. Forced Requisition is the opposite direction of Appropriate. If you discard a card after this card resolves, each time you discard a card from your hand, your opponent must also discard the same number of cards from his or her hand. Dark World players, have you ever wanted to lose your friends more? Play this card. You're gonna discard like your whole hand for, like, you know, 50 combo lines with a spreadsheet, and then, like, they're gonna lose their whole hand and just sit there and cry and go pick up a snack from the snack bar at your LGS, and then after getting said snack, they're gonna pick up the cards and never talk to you again, but, like, it's worth it for the one time you do this effect. Skull Invitation, opposite direction again. This is a burn card. Each time a card is sent to the graveyard, you inflict 300 damage to its owner for each card sent. If you're like a mill deck, and you're like milling everybody, right? You're just like milling like their whole deck. This does like a bunch, right? So like, granted, it also like kills you. So if you like milled yourself for like 20 cards, I mean, you're dealing like almost your whole life point total. But also, like, if they mill their whole deck, they're gonna like explode from this, which is super good. Hayabusa Knight is our first monster from Ferris Servant, a 3-star Earth warrior monster that can make a second attack during each battle phase. You combo this with Weather Report, right? So you got 4 attacks with this bird in one battle phase. That's insane. Their domains don't match at all, but like whatever, shut up. You like buff this guy with all the crazy equip cards, and then you make him huge, and then he swings twice, and then it gets like negated or destroyed or whatever, but still, like, imagine, it's so good. Vampire Baby, or Red Moon Baby, as it used to be called before they, like, made it an archetype card for whatever reason, is a level 3 dark zombie monster, and it reads at the end of the battle phase, if you destroyed a monster by battle with this card and send it to the graveyard, you can special summon that monster to your side of the field. Again, this is never going to happen, but, like, imagine you do pull this off. You get this guy up, you like buff him or whatever, and then he blows up a guy, and then you take their monster. This is great domain shenanigans territory. Shallow Grave is a normal spell card that makes each player target a monster in their own graveyard, and then each player will special summon their targeted monster in face down defense position from the graveyard. Now, because domain, this card targets everybody, so like all 4 players or however many are at your pod, everybody's going to reanimate a thing, which is like not like, you don't want to tell people to reanimate stuff, but like more often than not, right, cards like this, like in Magic, everybody gets a monster, you're usually getting the best target. So like you play this card, you want to make sure that you're getting like the best guy out, but also like in a 2v2, your ally's also getting a monster, they're getting stuff too, but whatever, who cares? You two are reanimating monsters, and that's sick. Play this card. Morphere Servant, we got Solemn Wishes, a continuous trap card that gives you life points, 500 life points, each time you draw a card or cards. Going back to Appropriate, you're drawing your whole deck. So now you have 500 billion life points. And then, like, they still kill you, maybe, but, like, life points. Time Seal is a normal trap card that you skip the draw phase of your opponent's next turn. Hypothetically, the winning player at the table, like the guy with all the best stuff, is right next to you in turn order. You slam down a Time Seal, you make them earn that win, okay? They're not winning on the draw. They have to earn that win, and you're making it difficult for them, and that, it's petty, and we love that behavior. Magical Hats is a normal trap card that was a spell card in the anime, and now it's a trap card. During your opponent's battle phase, you choose 2 spell or trap cards from your deck and 1 monster in your main monster zone, and you special summon them as normal monsters, face down with 0 stats. And then you set that monster right, and then you shuffle all the cards around so they don't know which one is which. The 2 cards chosen from your deck are destroyed at the end of the battle phase. And then they cannot remain on the battlefield after, like only during the battle phase, right? This used to be like a pretty notable card. People would use this for like getting certain targeted cards out of their deck until better stuff got printed and like Painful Choice was banned and stuff like that. So like Magical Hats is like a decent alternative for targeted removal, like deck thinning stuff that you want to do. Burning Land is a continuous spell card that when it is activated, if there are any field spells on the field, you destroy them. And then during each player's standby phase, that turn player takes 500 damage. Little bit of burn damage, a little bit of field spell board wiping. This card is not like great, but because field spells are a lot better than they were back then, it's notable that this card does kind of have inherent value for how good field spells are and dependent of like archetype strategies working, right? So this is worth considering just for like board wiping field spells, because also it targets everybody. So in a 4-player game, instead of just hitting one, hit them all, right? Whatever. Ground Collapse is a continuous spell card. You select 2 main monster zones on the field, and neither player can use the selected zones. But you cannot select a zone that is occupied by a monster card. So, you know, you're limiting space for them to flood their field. And then if you're the Kashtira player, this helps you lock out the rest of the zones, like your A Link Joker deck from Vanguard. If you get that joke, why are you here? But also stay, because Vanguard rules. Infinite Dismissal is a continuous trap card that reads, level 3 or lower monsters are destroyed during the end phase of the turn that they are normal summoned or flipped. For that one player at your table that only plays like little guys, they're going to hate you for this, but it is funny if it does actually do anything. Then we have the Shonen Jump promos from November 26, 2002. Unity is not worth mentioning, it's just here for the visual representation of the other cards. So, Yugioh Friendship is the main one we're going to talk about here. You offer your opponent a handshake. Step 1, like, why does this card exist? If they accept the handshake, each player's life points become half the combined life points of both players. Then if you have Unity in your hand and show it to your opponent, they must accept the handshake. So, one, these cards are dumb, but, like, imagine in a remote duel, right? You're, like, in the Discord playing on, like, tabletop, and you drop Yugioh Friendship, and you're like, all right, everybody, put them out. And then, like, nothing happens, but it's just, like, funny. It's a bit. Judgment of the Pharaoh is the trap card from this collection of promos. Pay half of your life points. Select and activate an appropriate effect which can be applied. If Yugioh Friendship happens to be in your graveyard until the end of this turn, your opponent cannot normal summon, set, flip, or special summon a monster or activate an effect monster's effect. We love floodgates. And this one's dumb. You play this in like a remote game so they can't even do the handshake, and then you're like, bam. Judgment of the Pharaoh, you're not playing anything, and then they do an extra deck play. Which I think they can't do, actually, because that counts as a special summon, right? Yeah, so probably not doing that either. If Unity is in your graveyard, until the end phase of this turn, negate the effects of all spell and traps on your opponent's side of the field, and your opponent cannot activate or set spell or traps. Again, we love floodgates, so you get Unity in the graveyard too, and then you're like, bam, you're not doing any of these. You're doing none of them. No monsters, no spell traps. All for a handshake. These cards are silly. Don't play them, but also, like, it's good for a bit in a game where you digitally can't handshake. Next, we have the False-Bound Kingdom from December 5th, 2002. This is the one promo we're going to talk about. It's a Goblin Fan, a continuous trap card that reads, when a level 2 or lower monster is flip summoned, destroy it, and its effects do not activate at that time. You know, like when you were a kid and you were so sick of Man-Eater Bug? This card's for you, alright? Play this card to make sure you are never Man-Eater Bugged again. It will never happen. Like, I can't imagine this card actually, like, shutting anybody out, but, like, is there, like, a deck with, like, level 2 or lower, like Mimighouls, I guess, right? Are they all, like, level, like, 1s and 2s? Or, like, are Ghost Tricks level 1s and 2s? Like, I can't picture, like, an entire deck being, like, blown out by this, but, like, it's gotta have some kind of application, right? There's gotta be some kind of pile of little goobers that want to flip up a billion times. And then you just, like, tell them no. You drop Goblin Fan, and you're like, no. Man-Eater Bug, not happening. Mimighouls, they weren't good in Domain anyways. Ghost Trick, put them away. Like, all of it, just done. It's all put away. Probably not, and I'm probably, like, I don't think, but, like, Ghost Tricks, I think, have, like, level 3s as well, or mostly level 3s. I'd have to look. I haven't looked at them in forever, so I don't know. Lastly, we have McDonald's Promo Series #1. This is the last pack of 2002, which will be for the last pack we're going to cover for this segment of our journey. And we have one card to talk about from the many that came out in this McDonald's pack. You know, you sat down, you had your McNuggies, your mom was, like, yelling at you to, like, eat up and hurry, whatever. And then you're ripping open that pack, and you wanted Millennium Shield. You wanted Cosmo Queen. Instead, you pulled Dark Piercing Light, baby. Normal spell card. Flip all face-down monsters on your opponent's side of the field face up. We love stupid stuff, okay? Imagine this card with an ally. They're playing that flip deck. You're doing the Acid Trap Hole thing to help them out. Instead, you got the alternative. You are flipping all their monsters. You are doing the thing. And they're all flipping, and they're all triggering, and it's a sick combo. But then, like, the other two players on the 2v2 are like playing actual decks, so like they win, but like they lose in spirit, all right? And that is what matters most, okay? That's going to cover today's segment. We traversed from 2000 all the way to 2002. And next time we're probably going to do like just 1 year at a time to kind of keep things a little smaller. But if you enjoyed this video, one, thank you for watching. Your time is the most important thing from watching these videos. But if you want to support me even further, you can hit the like button, hit the bell so you're notified of each video. You can leave a comment on your thoughts of stuff down below, or recommendations on how to do this differently, or other ideas for things you'd like to see on the channel. And of course, you can subscribe. We are nearing 500 subscribers. It'd be really cool to hit that before, you know, the year is out. Maybe do like a giveaway or something for hitting 500 subs. Not sure what we'll do for that, but we want to celebrate it in some way or another. So that'd be really cool. But otherwise, thank you for joining me in the beginning of this journey of checking out all the weird and unusual cards in Yu-Gi-Oh's history. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.